Neto deal complicated as confirmed by FABRIZIO Romano as Asensio to Arsenal very possible, and he might be one of those players that Arsenal can go in and really bring in at the deadline day. And of course, Elneny getting an injury with Thomas Partey out is another problem that is really making Mikel Arteta and Edu scratch their heads to find out a solution for what we call another central defensive midfielder in that Arsenal team. Welcome to you, Rokani Media Football. How are you guys and where are you watching us from? This is our last video of the day, and obviously Chelsea fans have been thrown into shocker by Southampton. They've been thumped by 2-1, and obviously I call it a thump because for Southampton to beat Chelsea 2-1 is really something abnormal. And what makes it abnormal is the time that Southampton spent leading the game. Chelsea came in and scored the first goal in the 23rd minute. After 5 minutes, Southampton really leveled the game. And after 20 minutes, that was the 45th minute, Southampton managed to get a lead. In the next 45 minutes, Chelsea couldn't come through to level the game or score a winner. That's it. That's how shocking. That's why I call it a thump, because if Chelsea can take 45 minutes without scoring a goal, that is alarming. It really screams. It really screams trouble at Chelsea. Look at Arsenal against Fulham. Fulham scored in the 53rd minute of the game. And guess what? Martin Odegaard came in through and really leveled it. It took Arsenal some other 30 or 28 minutes to score a winner through Gabriel Magalhaes. So it shows you that Arsenal really has a rhythm. But at Chelsea, it's really so much alarming. I really believe that after the sacking of Scott Parker, maybe the next manager to be sacked is going to be Thomas Tuchel, guys. Thank you for watching us in. It's not about talking Chelsea, it's talking about Arsenal, but I was just trying to chip it because it was itching my lips. It was itching my lips and I had to throw into you because it's really something that you guys should know about, and obviously I've brought it in here for you. Last video of the day. I know you're going to watch it massively because you guys like Pedro Neto and Marco Asensio. As things stand, FABRIZIO Romano is going to let us know that Pedro Neto is one of the players that Arsenal love. Edu really appreciates the player, and the same to Mikel Arteta. They consider Neto as a perfect player for them, but Wolverhampton Wanderers want more than £60 million, so it's a complicated deal for them. So Fabrizio has gone ahead to confirm to us that it's a complicated deal for Arsenal to go in and really bring in Pedro Neto. Obviously, Pedro Neto is an exciting player. He's an exciting player. And one thing I really believe Mikel Arteta and Edu like about Pedro Neto is his pace. Because Arsenal really looks good when they're having Martinelli thriving onto that wide left area. But we look at Bukayo Saka, his pace is not as good as that of Martinelli and Pedro Neto. Pedro Neto takes the game to the next level. Even if he comes in, like in the game of Fulham, you bring him to play some 30 minutes, he takes that game to the next level. Why? He puts in more pace. He puts the second foot onto the pedal, and obviously is going to cause problems to the opponents. Look, the way Arsenal plays, they can use that ball in the midfield with Thomas Partey, Grant Xhaka and Odegaard. They can do that one-touch passing, you get wall passes, and they can really attract these players of the team to come close to the ball, hence creating space in the wide areas. So if you're having a player like Pedro Neto in space, he's good. And the good thing is that even if he doesn't have space and is operating in tight spaces, he will get you what you want. He can sit down a player and then pass in. I think that's the most attribute that Mikel Arteta really loves about Pedro Neto. And secondly, his big engine. At Wolverhampton Wanderers, I saw the game of Tottenham Hotspur when they're playing him as a wing back. Can you imagine? He was playing as a wing back in that game. On the right, he was playing as a right wing back in that game of Spurs. Though they lost 1-0 to Spurs, but the entire first half, Wolverhampton Wanderers sat Tottenham Hotspur down with that Pedro Neto wing moving every minute of the game. I think this is what Mikel Arteta sees in Pedro Neto, because you saw him shift to a system of 3-5-2 in the game of Fulham when they really went ahead to concede through that howler of Gabriel Magalhaes. He brought in Edin Nketiah, and he had Edin Nketiah and Gabriel Jesus leading the line. Then he was playing with the back three of Ben White, Gabriel Magalhaes, and Saliba. Then Bukayo Saka was playing as a wing back on the left, and Martinelli was playing as a wing back on the right. And he expects such situations to happen in very many games. And to add on more firepower, you need to be having Gabriel Jesus and Nketiah leading the line in the 3-5-2 system. Then, if you want to get a player as a wing back, Pedro Neto does it better than Martinelli and obviously Bukayo Saka, meaning that you can bring him on and really get things rolling at a side which goes by the names of Arsenal. So it's going to be a very big blow for Arsenal, according to me. But obviously, if you are really looking at it as how I've painted it, obviously Pedro Neto is a better player. But I've already told you that on any day, as how Arsenal is standing, because it's an inexperienced team, I bring in Marcos Alonso. That's it. I keep my stand onto this, that I bring in Marcos Alonso on any day at Arsenal if at all you put these two players onto the wing scale for me. Then FABRIZIO Romano went ahead to let us know that for Pedro Neto, it's up to Arsenal if they want to try, but it's not an easy one, as Wolverhampton Wanderers want a bid of £50 million. So it's up to Arsenal to go in and really decide whether they bring in Pedro Neto or not. And remember very well that FABRIZIO Romano told us way back that Arsenal still have the £60 million they are going to spend on Rafinha to Arsenal. You remember that very well, that Arsenal were in for Rafinha, and they still have that £60 million they are still going to spend on Rafinha. You know that very well. So is Arsenal willing to go in and spend it on Pedro Neto? Let's wait and see what happens in there for you. But Arsenal has concrete interest in Pedro Neto, but the deal looks complicated, as confirmed to us by FABRIZIO Romano in here onto the Rokani Media Football. Let's get into this story. As I've always told you that, for me, as Arsenal stands, who should I go in for? Pedro Neto is playing at Wolverhampton Wanderers, or Asensio, 26 years of age. He has been playing at Real Madrid, has won everything, good winning mentality, and obviously a better and experienced player as far as playing where Bukayo Saka plays is concerned. I've already told you that I go in for Marco Asensio in there for you. But for the plan that I've just stipulated outside there of playing as a wing back, intensity and passing in every time, Pedro Neto is better, because Pedro Neto is better playing on both wings. He can play good on the left, he can play better onto the right. That is the man who goes by names of Pedro Neto at Arsenal. So, FABRIZIO Romano has told us that he was on the wetfronted.net. He told us that Marco Asensio has been offered by his agent to many English clubs, including Arsenal and Manchester United. In the last 2 weeks, Asensio is looking for an opportunity, and he'll try to find a nice opportunity because he wants to play. So, obviously, the player has been offered to Arsenal and Manchester United, but for Manchester United, it's off totally. Reason being, they've brought in Anthony, who plays off that side, and I don't believe that they might go in for him. Maybe otherwise, when Ten Hag really comes in and says, all right, I think I'm going to play Sancho and Rashford off the left, attacking side of the midfield, then I'll go ahead and really play Marco Asensio and Anthony off the right. Something I see hard to happen. I see it hard to happen because United are now looking in for a right back and a centre forward. They can't spend money on to where they at least have a lot of quality with Sancho, Anthony, Rashford, Garnacho, and a player who goes by names of Anthony Elanga. So, as things stand, if there is a Premier League team that can go in and really bring in a player who goes by names of Marco Asensio, it's Arsenal, because he has been offered to them. And remember very well that even Marco Asensio changed his agent to George Mendes, super agent, the agent of Cristiano Ronaldo, and he's now the agent of him, and he wants to get him a move to the Premier League. He wants to move to the Premier League. AC Milan, Juventus are out of the move, and Arsenal are being offered a player. To me, I've always said, and I'm going to be constant on this, guys, I really believe that for me on Marc Asensio and Pedro Neto, I go in for Marc Asensio because there is something he has that Pedro doesn't have. That is experience. He adds a lot of winning mentality to Arsenal. Look at what Zinchenko and Gabriel Jesus are really bringing at Arsenal. Aren't you guys so privileged to be having Zinchenko and Gabriel Jesus at Arsenal? Just imagine when Marc Asensio joins the team. It's really going to be a hard one. To me, I really believe that's going to be a very good deal for Arsenal, especially if at all it really matures. But FABRIZIO Romano again on Marco Asensio told us that for Arsenal, there is no direct negotiation with Real Madrid, but the relationship with Jorge Mendes is always very good, so it could be a last-minute idea, but at the moment, it's not negotiation. So, FABRIZIO has gone ahead to throw more light to this deal that Jorge Mendes offered the player to Arsenal and Manchester United. Arsenal has not gone directly to talk about Marc Asensio with Real Madrid, but Edu and Jorge Mendes have really a very good relationship that on the D-Day, on the deadline day, Arsenal can sweep in and get in a player who goes by the names of Marco Asensio. And I've always told you that Arsenal are kings of signing players on deadline day. Remember, in the summer of 2020, was it 2020? 2020, 2021, I think 2020. Arsenal went in, I think 2021, 2020, 2021, one of those. Arsenal brought in Thomas Partey on the deadline day. Last summer, Arsenal brought in Thomas Partey, and meaning that this summer it can also be possible for them to bring in a player who goes by the names of Marc Asensio on deadline day. And I'm predicting that Arsenal are going to bring in a player on deadline day. Why? They are not like Manchester United. Manchester United is playing on the 1st of September. That is the deadline day. Arsenal is playing on 31st. That is today. That's when they're playing a side which goes by the names of Aston Villa. Meaning that Mikel Arteta will be really not in action and will be receiving calls with Edu telling him, all right, we want this player. He's available. This one is not available. Who can we get in immediately? Because as things stand, if Arsenal were to go in all out for Pedro Neto £50 million, it would have already been made official that Arsenal have put in an offer. But it looks like Arsenal want to pay £35 million, and obviously, Wolverhampton Wanderers want close to more than £50 million. And they are right, because a player is tied to a contract of 5 years. It's expiring in 2027. Amid this Pedro Neto being a player who supports Arsenal since his childhood, he said he won't push in a move. He won't put in a move to really force out of Wolverhampton Wanderers. Meaning that what is going to let Pedro Neto out of Wolverhampton Wanderers? It's money, £60 million, £50 plus million to get him out of Wolverhampton Wanderers. But if you're really a genuine Arsenal supporter and you sieve and break down things like this, you just have to ask yourself, Pedro Neto, 22 years of age, you can get him even more in the next 3 seasons, but there is a Marc Asensio, 26 years of age, proven talent at 30 million euros, 25 million pounds. What do you do? I think for now, I go in for Marc Asensio, pay him 25 million pounds, pay 25 million pounds for Real Madrid, and get him. And that's why FABRIZIO Romano is telling you that it could be a last-minute idea, but at the moment, it's not a negotiation. You get? Arsenal are really having these players on the list. That's why I really like Arsenal. The way they do their deals are really great. They have very many players. We talked about Mudryk, Mikhailo Mudryk yesterday. He's on the Arsenal list. We talked about Pedro Neto. We talked about Marc Asensio. We talked about Leroy Sen. We've talked about Cody Gakpo. Very many teams are in there, and Arsenal are really to go in and get this deal done and dusted. So let's wait and see how things are really going to go in and happen in there for you, as told to us by FABRIZIO Romano in there for you. So lastly, see this. Not good story for Arsenal, but there is something I'm going to let you know that God loves Arsenal, guys. God loves Arsenal. Because it looked like Arsenal were going out of a deal to bring in a central defensive midfielder. But guess what? It has emerged Mohamed Elneny sustained a significant injury in the win over Fulham. Elneny completed the full match, and it was not until later the problem became apparent. Initial indications suggest he's expected to be sidelined for a substantial period of time. So, Arsenal, after how Elneny played, I think Edu and Arteta were saying, all right, can we go in for a Tielemans? Can we go in for a Paredes? Can we go in for any other central defense midfielder? Because he has really done a very good job today. And I really believe in Elneny. I really believe in him shielding the back four, getting that ball off the back four and really passing it into the lanes and finding pockets of space in the midfield and closing down opponents. But he's not at that level of Thomas Partey. Thomas Partey in that midfield of Arsenal is just a confirmation to you that there is a rock in your midfield that can play a single pivot that needs no help. You saw it very well in the game of Fulham. He can really shield the back four, but it required Granit Xhaka and Odegaard to come in deeper positions of the midfield to get that ball because he doesn't have that drive going forward. He's good getting that ball from the back four, but that energy, that urgency of passing through the central midfield, the central axis, like Thomas Partey, to drive forward is really lacking in him. So, he's now injured. Arsenal have gone in to inquire on Paredes. Paredes has already agreed personal terms with Juventus and he was okay to coming to Arsenal, but he said, I cannot really turn around or turn heel on Juventus. That's what he told them. That is Paredes. They've went in for Idrissa Gueye at PSG. He has already agreed personal terms with Everton. He's returning to Everton. Remember, they got him from Everton and took him to PSG. He said, no, I can't come there. I'm interested in the move to Arsenal, but I can't turn down Lampard because I already agreed him with Everton. They've gone ahead to Danilo in Brazil and they are really running on him. And I'm asking myself, why aren't they going in for Tielemans? That's the big question, and the answer will be for another day on the 1st of September when the transfer window closes down. You get? So, why I'm telling you that Arsenal, God loves Arsenal, and there is a hand of Arsenal, there is a hand of God at Emirates and Aaron Conley. Arsenal had fallen into this trap of not signing another CDM, convinced that the options of Elneny and Thomas Partey are enough, but all of them are injured. Don't expect one of those to play part into that game of Aston Villa. And this is where it comes very hard and very nasty for a club which goes by names of Arsenal. You get? It's nasty, guys. It's very nasty for Arsenal in a game like this. They expected to be having these players, but they're nowhere to be seen. What does that mean? Obviously, it means Arsenal to get in the market and bring in players. And it shows you how God loves Arsenal, guys. Because they were totally off in deals. They are chasing for Pedro Neto, all Asensio. Those were the deals Arsenal were really targeting. And they had really backed off a central defender, a central midfielder, and they are so much onto the left-footed winger who plays on the right. But obviously, Elneny out, Thomas Partey out. And I don't know what Arsenal is really going to do. Let's wait and see. They are now in the market. A signal has been sent to them that your season can get worse or can get from good to bad if at all you don't do a BCD. And I think Mikel Arteta and Edu know it very well that games of football are won and lost in the midfield. You get? So, they're going to play against Aston Villa. The midfield is empty. After Aston Villa, they are playing Manchester United on Sunday. It really calls for an immediate signing because you can go and play Aston Villa. We're not having Thomas Partey and Elneny in that midfield. But would you like to play Manchester United on Sunday when you don't have your midfield desired player? I think that's unallowable. United is going to be having Casemiro, Eriksen and Bruno Fernandes in the midfield. Then, for you, if at all a player who goes by the names of Elneny and Thomas Partey don't return early in time for the Sunday game, and you don't bring in a central defense midfielder, Arsenal will be having, because I've heard of them talking about Zinchenko, because Zinchenko is back in training, that playing Zinchenko in a CDM role, Granit Xhaka and Martin Odegaard as a midfield three. Obviously, The midfield of United is going to outplay you because there is Casemiro, who is going to play a single pivot very well, and he can outclass all of those players around you. So you need another player who is going to come in and really cancel himself out with Casemiro. That's what I really believe, and I think Arsenal should go in and bring in another central defensive midfielder, Tielemans or Danilo, or any other that is available on the market, or Tonali, because they've been chasing for him. Thank you guys for watching in. Your reactions to Neto, Pedro deal complicated, Asensio to Arsenal still possible, and obviously, tell me what you think about Elneny out with an injury. Do you think Arsenal is going to go out there and spend big on a central defensive midfielder? Your reactions are welcome hugely into the comment section. Rokani David is my name. Last video of the day. I'm going to record one more, and it's going to be about the match breakdown of Arsenal versus the side which goes by names of Aston Villa. Then you'll watch it, I think, at around 9 a.m. or 10 a.m. Then later, we will go on and do the needful and really bring in lots of things that you guys deserve. Thank you for watching in. May the Almighty Lord bless you abundantly. Continue to subscribe to this channel, guys. Subscribe, go into the lower right bottom corner and do the needful and really subscribe to us, because as it stands now, we are having close to 6,510 subscribers. We are left with 490 subscribers to hit 7,000 subscribers, guys. Let's keep pushing. Let's keep pushing this and spreading the love for this channel. I'm out, guys. Thank you. Good night, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, depending on where you are watching us from.